thing is that you were able to make things which were similar to grains, like corn. You can make cornbread. You can make, so even though the Kitnyos does not rise, there's no issue of chametz. It's impossible to make it rise. But they asked it because people would make mistakes and they would end up eating chametz. So that's why it was originally aser. Now the interesting part, it's even more chametz than chametz, because wheat, we know, wheat you can make matzah. You can put water on it and just make sure it doesn't rise. You can eat raw wheat without putting any water on it, right? As long as it doesn't come in contact with water, or if you Scheiner it and make sure that it didn't rise, 18-minute matzahs, so you're allowed to eat grain. But Kitnyos, being that it's impossible for it to rise, so it didn't make sense to say, well, if it gets mixed with water and it's more than 18 minutes, then it's aser, because there's no difference before and after. It never rose anyways. So therefore, they asked it across the board. To the degree that there were some, and in Shnas B'tzoros, at times when there were hungers or difficult and they needed food, so they were matir it. They were matir to eat it if it never came in contact with water, or if you washed it. If you kept it 18 minutes or so. So if you were able to keep that, so they were matir. Sometimes they were matir Kitnyos totally if there was mamasha, a bad hunger going on. But this was one of the coolest that they used. Now this story brought down in Sholem Meshiv that in the early generations, the Rabbanim got together and they were matir Kitnyos just to buy it, to eat it without, when it doesn't come in contact with water. And it became a milchshol and people mixed it with water. And that year, I have to wash them down here. And that year, there were a lot of cholim koshin. There were a lot of difficult sicknesses that went on that year, and bad things were happening. And the Rabbanim were told that they were lax in the minhag of Kitnyos. So they were mavatal, they had charot on it. So it's, even though it's a minhag, start off at a minhag, but it's a very strong minhag. It's a minhag from our fathers, and we can't just be mavatal for those that have it. In some areas of Sfar, they were never makabel the minhag. Some did for rice. Rice was more prevalent. Some did for rice, and some didn't do anything. But that's where Kitnyos started, and that's why we don't eat anything that's a rice or different beans. Now there is a het. It's not chametz. So you're allowed to own it in your house. You don't have to sell it. You're allowed to keep it around. And not only that, for a chayla, it's mutter. For someone who's sick, it's mutter. That's why a lot of medications, you don't have to worry about if there's Kitnyos in it. Most medications do have some form of Kitnyos in it, as we'll see soon. And we don't care about it because the chayla is allowed to take Kitnyos. But especially since most of the medications anyway is not edible, like we spoke about the first week. Medications aren't edible, it's mutter anyways. But most of them consist of Kitnyos. So chayla is allowed to have Kitnyos. And who would in a tinnik, a small child, is considered a chayla. So a lot of the baby formulas and things like that are Kitnyos, soy based, and that's Kitnyos, we'll see soon. So, but that's mutter for a child. You just have separate kalim for it. Kitnyos is very cool, Dick. If it's mixed in with other things, it's mutter, it's bottle. Except if it's there to give taste and shishim, it doesn't have the chumrah of Pesach. And but that doesn't mean you're allowed to go and mix it to begin with. I mean, someone had asked me a shayla. We have a very common here. People are Ashkenazim eating by Sfardim in the house because they use the kalim. So the truth is that because they eat at their house and the food is cooked with the pots. All these questions. But the mutter, if the food was already cooked in the pot that was used for Kitnyos, it's mutter because it's bottled. Kitnyos is bottled. It's no shayla. But the questions l'chatchila to do it is not so geschmack. L'chatchila we don't eat Kitnyos. So l'chatchila we don't use the pots either. In Makam Atchak a person could. If it's a difficult situation, a person could be saimich, especially sometimes Baal Tshuva have difficult situations. Eating, if it's a Shas Atchak, it's a shayla, but it could be there's a Makam to be makel to eat, to l'chatchila go ahead and use the Kitnyos pots for it. But the evidence for sure, bottle and mutter, and there's no shayla. Anything that's bottle, Kitnyos is bottle b'roiv. You don't even need, if it's min b'mina, you only need it's bottle b'roiv. So we have kulas when it comes to Kitnyos, but
I don't understand how did corn become Kitnyos?
corn is also, that was considered immediate midgan. It's something which was gathered in the fields and stored and kept, and you can make, and you can make different kinds of breads with it. So even though it doesn't rise,
do that with potatoes also.
Potatoes was a shiloh. Potatoes is considered more of a vegetable than a seed. Corn was always animal food until recently. It was considered more of a seed. Potatoes is more of a vegetable, and it was never b'chalal exer. They didn't have it at the time, but we'll get to that soon. But there are those that wanted asa potatoes, but it didn't take off. Baruch Hashem for that. Huh?
Nothing left to eat.
Yeah. So yeah. We'll get to that. So that's the one cool you have by Kitnyos. The issue was by shemen, by oil made soybean oil. Moshe in his days even was matur even soybean oil. Soybean wasn't really edible, but today they use soy for everything. You know, soy is used as a imitation for whatever you got. You can make out of soybean. So soy is something which we eat. So we're like Kitnyos on soybeans, and the question is on the oil. On the oil there was
soybeans are Kitnyos.
Yeah, no Kitnyos. So Moshe was matir. We'll see soon, but
he was matir on soybeans
in his days because it wasn't really used as a food.
Sunflower seeds are.
Sunflower seeds, I think also.
So it's interesting. So I can understand not eating, for example, soybeans, but how about derivatives which clearly are not going to look like or be treated like?
Right. So that's what we get to. So the first shiloh came up with shemen, is oil. Oil, there were those that were matir it. Big goyim were matir oil. That was so true from Shamshon for Hirsch. So the big item of matir oil, because oil is not really the food itself, it's just something which is taken out of the food. So they were matir it. Lamaisa, especially things which are iffy, if the Kitnyos to begin with. But lamaisa, we're no gisser on oil. Basically all the poskim today go that it's also. You won't find a kashrus organization that's will give a hechsher on canola oil. It won't happen. No, it's Kitnyos. But oil we ask it, and also you can have schnapps that is made from Kitnyos. That it's made from fermented foods that are Kitnyos. So all those we're no gisser on. The question which really comes into play, first of all, you have cottonseed oil. Cottonseed was a big shiloh because technically it fits into the criteria. It fits into the criteria of Kitnyos. There's a tshuva from the Trumas Hadeshen that says zera canvas. The seeds of canvas he held was Kitnyos, and the Ma'aseh for the Goyin held was Kitnyos. The Ma'aseh Moshe has a tshuva that cottonseed is mutter because it's not something you eat. You can't eat cottonseed. Don't eat it. It's not a food. So he held cottonseed oil. Cottonseed was mutter. So therefore, there was a lot of Goyin, Maril, and the Trumas Hadeshen. Based on that, they held that their canvas is also cottonseed would also be also. Now, if you throw a lot of people are knowing not to eat cottonseed. Since Moshe was matir it in America, and many others were matir because it's not considered a food, so therefore we're soymech we eat in America as a spasha at the minute. They had to have cottonseed oil. Most people do it. They used to sell walnut oil, for those that don't eat cottonseed oil, but it's very hard to get it over here today. It's very expensive also. It's about twice the price.
So, Moshe matir soybean oil and
not soybean oil. Soybean oil was because he held it wasn't edible, but today they use it as a food, so that it wouldn't apply. Soybean oil is for sure Kitnyos.
Oh,
yeah,
so because cottonseed oil
because cottonseed is not edible, so it's not edible, and it's a question if it really fits into the Kitnyos, even though Mikra did it does. But Moshe held it was mutter cottonseed, and was soymech on that. So. America, so that's why we use cottonseed oil. Again, oil is a second shlav, which is that it was already changed a little bit, became oil. So for sure they go with kula. So a cottonseed oil, and that's where the heta came. Even though I'm just saying that there are those that don't eat it, and there's a strong source in halacha for it, because from Maril and from Sadeshan.
You're coming to quinoa probably, right?
We're getting there. So then there's another, yeah, okay, we'll do that first. Quinoa became a big tumult these days. And the question is, it's something which wasn't around at the time. I see here in the thing from Rabbi Rosen's father, he wrote an article for the Star K on Kitnyos that he brings in here about quinoa. Quinoa spelled with a Q-U-I-N-O-A. It's quinoa, but that's how it's spelled. N-O-A.
Wow.
So it's a sesame seed sized kernel brought from Chile. And it was cultivated in the Andes Mountains for thousands of years. You know, they want to use it today for on Pesach. Pesach today, it used to be Pesach, people only ate, very few products they didn't buy. They made their own stuff, they made their own charain, everything. They didn't buy products. But today, not only do they buy products, they have to make sure you have every product on the market. Pizza that's kosher Pesach, everything, you name it. So now they want to make sushi that's kosher Pesach for Ashkenazim that don't have rice, So they want to substitute the rice with the quinoa. That's why it became more of a shiloh this year than the other years. So the question is, what is it? So it's an issue. So if it's a sesame seed, that's what he said. But he says it's not related to grain really.
It's related to spinach.
Yeah, it's a member of the goosefoot family. But I think it's more of a vegetable, like he's saying. Than it's more of a vegetable than a grain. So therefore, a lot of the Star K and others are matter quinoa. COR is not matter quinoa. You won't find quinoa in the hechsher with COR. I'm sure that doesn't hold it, but the Heinemann is matter it. So that's the shiloh of quinoa upon him, if that's considered a grain. Others want to say that something which wasn't around at the time. Some say something which wasn't around at the time of the Gezerah wasn't b'chal the Gezerah. So anything which wasn't there at that time can't be us. Something new, a new thing. There was one of that term for potatoes, a new thing. So it's not b'chal the heter. Others say no. Anything that fits into the criteria of midi de midgan, and you can make like a bread out of it, would be b'chal the Gezerah. So it's part of the shiloh a little bit. Quinoa could be better than that. It's not even a grain. It's not even a grain, even though it looks like it. So that's why Heinemann was matu, even though he doesn't necessarily go with everything that's wasn't around at the time. But there's some of the shilohs that come up, and Kitnyos, So
Star K holds that it's not Kitnyos.
Star K says here they hold it's not Kitnyos, and the COR goes that it is Kitnyos.
As of this year.
As of it's been around a few years, but
they never took a formal position. They took a formal position this year. They didn't take one.
It's their first year doing it.
Yeah.
It was okay before.
I don't know if the position was that it's usher. You have to understand. I don't know if they made a position that it's usher. They just didn't give a hechsher. There's a big difference. And if you give a hechsher, means he's saying it's mutter. It's a shiloh. They don't want to be.
It's complicated. Like there's this person who I know who has developed a very serious physical reaction to any kind of grain at all on any level. Right. Can't have anything. So there's no matzahs, no nothing. Gets very ill. So she's using quinoa.
Yeah, so this is a different situation. A chayla anyways Kitnyos is mutter. Especially quinoa, which could be not Kitnyos, it's a shiloh.
Right. It's Blumenkranz's position too. He wrote about it before he passed away in detail.
Blumenkranz isn't around.
What?
He
wrote about it 4 years ago.
4 years ago?
In detail. Yeah, it's in his volumes for the last 3-4 years.
Could be because he goes with the Moshe. The Moshe, I think, was making.
He was very knowledgeable about it.
Yeah, I know.
And he said that it was that if people needed it, they should have it.
That's something else. I'm saying if someone needs it, it's a different situation. I'm talking about stam for you going to a Pesach hotel and they're serving your sushi. You don't need the sushi. I hope. Yeah, but if someone needs it, it's a whole different ballgame. Someone that needs it is a different situation. But another big shiloh Kitnyos before we move on is very prevalent shiloh, as we call Kitnyos Shenashtana. So even though we said that the oils we said most Paiskim and Scheiner, all of them across the board won't be matter the soybean oils and all the oils, but something which is nishtana, a derivative, we call the derivative of Kitnyos, which is totally changed and it doesn't look like, smell like it's took a few few steps to process it, to make it, would that be considered kitnyos? This is a big shaila in the poskim. And the kashrus organizations all have different mahalchim on this. So therefore, you could find.
So doesn't that apply to the oil?
Oil is not really nishtana. Oil is just pressed. But you have things that were nishtana. I'll give you a few examples. The famous example would be, first of all, you have corn syrup. Corn syrup is used. It's not really nishtana. That could be as more direct. That most people will count as kitnyos, corn syrup, and it's in a lot of different foods. But you have, first of all, you have all the diet stuff, aspartame and these things. That's kitnyos and nishtana. That's why you'll see. That's kitnyos and nishtana. And the OU, I believe, gives a hechsher on it, and that's why it'll give a hechsher on diet Coke.
What does that mean, nishtama?
Nishtana changed. It changed. It's not the same as it was before. So the OU will give a hechsher on it, but the Star K won't, and the COR won't, and the other hechsher won't. Depends on the. It's a cooler little bit kitnyos and nishtana, and just to make you aware of it. So you'll see some with a hechsher and some without a hechsher. And the COR will give a Sephardic hechsher, but Ashkenazi hechsher won't get. And the Star K also won't give, and the CRC, but the OU does give on kitnyos and nishtana. You have a few examples of it. Meltodextrin. So now there's some of them that are chametz. Some of them are chametz based. Those are a bigger problem. Chametz and nishtana, we're not talking about. But kitnyos and nishtana. Some of them are from corn, and some of them are from chametz. You have to really find out. Nutristine, sweet, sorbitol. It gives a few examples. Even some vitamin C's are kitnyos and nishtana. So sorbic acid. There are different things which are based to kitnyos, and they change it over, and it's a discussion among the poskim, and you'll find certain achsherim will give it, and then you'll say, hey, I never knew Diet Coke was kosher Pesach, and then you'll see a hechsher on it, but this is the shaila. The shaila is kitnyos and nishtana if you eat it or not. That's the. Again, I'm not mixing into the shaila whether it's mutter or asa. I'm just giving you the information. You should be aware of it, because that's the question. And that's why you'll find different achsherim. Now again, in a lot of the medicines you'll have a lot of this, but kitnyos for sure. We're not machmerang the medications and the.
Let's say you're not sick, but you just want to take vitamins or something.
No, it says then you shouldn't take it. Shouldn't take it if it's shouldn't take it.
Kitnyos and nishtana, I mean.
So kitnyos will be totally in the shaila, according to those that hold that you're allowed to take it. It's no issue, you can take it. Those that hold that you can't.
Sunflower seeds out. They're kitnyos.
Sunflower seeds is kitnyos. I think so. I'm not sure. I have to double check that.
I'm just trying to figure out what's the only allowable oil would be
Water.
Water.
Oh.
Pardon?
Sunflower seeds, it says here, is kitnyos. Sunflower seeds is kitnyos. Tofu is kitnyos, because that's made out of soybeans. Peanuts is a big shaila. Peanuts. Moshe has a tshuva on it. Moshe doesn't know how it became kitnyos, but he writes that since in America the minhag was never to eat peanuts, so one should be machma takanadi peanuts, and I believe most people don't eat it in Pesach, even though technically it's not really kitnyos, but the Olam's knowing not to use it.
A peanut is like a bean. The other nuts are not.
Yeah.
Right? Just peanuts.
It's peanuts. Peanuts, yeah. The other nuts are okay. Yeah, walnuts, all the other nuts are okay. Yeah, you're right. It's only peanuts is
It's like a
issue.
bean.
It's like a
something like that.
Yeah, it's medium midgun has a thing. I don't know. Moshe says that since the Olam was noig not to eat it in America, we should avoid it, even though he holds that might not be us.
They're not nuts.
South Africa peanuts was never a problem.
They always ate it on Pesach. Yeah, Moshe says in Europe they always ate it, but when it came to America they didn't eat it. So he says he's right.
I think his family said he did it personally.
I can't tell you. Actually, what it says in the
I
Shuvah.
read a piece about it.
Yeah.
Interesting, but it's because of its look, I would imagine. It looks.
And its
Yeah.
name.
Any kind of beans are also, yeah?
There's a P in it.
What?
Any kind of beans are also.
Beans we don't eat.
Yeah.
Those beans we don't eat. What other good examples? Gour gum.
What's going on?
Millet. MSG might have chametz in it. So the different products, you go through the products listing, but you know, so these kind of things should have a hechsher on it in any case, you know. So you get a picture.
But what other oils are okay besides cotton oil? Olive oil.
Walnut oil, but I don't know if you get that here. They have another oil out, I think.
Safflower?
Safflower, I think they have another oil out. I'm not sure. I think they put that out now.
Is grapeseed?
Rapeseed. Rapeseed oil is a problem.
Grapeseed.
Rapeseed is okay if it's shalom from the yain nesach, but rapeseed is
Grapeseed is okay?
Grapeseed, but rapeseed with an R, that's a
Rapeseed is canola.
Huh?
It's another word for canola.
What?
It's the same thing.
Rapeseed.
Rapeseed and canola are the same.
But
They changed the name to make it more marketable.
Because canola doesn't sound good?
Rapeseed doesn't sound good.
Oh, I see. They did it the other way.
Yeah.
Strange name.
Okay, let's move on to Yonah Pesach. So we'll go first to
Just ask one other question.
yeah.
It was mentioned that Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch was matir something. What was that?
I think he was matir shemen. Shemen that's from cotton, from oil that was from Kitnyos.
Oh, from Kitnyos.
Yeah.
Does that mean like certain communities would hold by that?
I don't think today any communities hold it. At least in the western part of the world.
Oh.
You may find, you
Maybe
know.
Mother corn oil.
In Washington Heights?
Yeah, no, they're not matir. But it could be in some, you know.
Based
some,
on the Scheiner, because it qualifies as the Scheiner.
Yeah, it's not the direct thing that they asked. Yeah, again, if there's difficult situations, one should ask a Rav. In certain situations, you know, different things may not be really kitnius, and there's a mokum to be makel. But across the board, we're not matter these things straight out.
Is there a difference philosophically between what an organization doesn't want to matir because it's always easier to say no,
Not because he's
and what is this?
Yeah, because if an organization says it's mutter, it has to be 100% mutter. This is in hechsherim, you know. The hechsherim a lot of times they buy a product and it might have isser in it that's bottled by meya and 1,000. They won't give a hechsher on it. But that doesn't mean in a situation that you can't eat it. You would have to know the details well before you went ahead and ate it. But an organization is only going to give something that's 100% no shilas on. They're not going to, you know, that was a shilas with certain organizations. I'm not going to mention certain organizations. They did give a hechsher on and it became a whole tumult. But basically, they only give a hechsher on something which is clean. No shilas. If something happens, you know, something came up and they did a run and they didn't realize it, okay, then you can be saying on the tevim. But they don't give a hechsher of something which is iffy. But a personal shilah, you know, sometimes there are situations when, you know, that's a different thing. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with the Seder. So, one of the shilas I'm getting a lot this year, I don't know why. Sometimes you get the same shilah many times. It's time to start the Seder. This is relevant among the Baalei Tshuva families, not even families, but if one is from and the rest of the family is not from, by the traditional non-religious families, the Seder starts at 5-6 o'clock, and it's long over before Shkia. So they're not yotzi. You can't be yotzi your Seder on Erev Pesach. You have to eat it on Pesach. And to top it all off, we know there's a big chumrah of Pesach brought down in Taisus and Rabbi Pesachim, brought down Shulchan Aruch, that the matzah is hookish to the Korban Pesach, and Korban Pesach has to eat in Balayla. So even though we know that Shabbos you can make early Shabbos, and you make early Shabbos, the whole kedusha Shabbos starts earlier, and there's a shaila in the Paiskim. If I start and on a Yom Tov, if I start early, if the mitzvahs hayoyim start earlier. So, for example, if I start Sukkot early, do I have a chiyuv to eat in the Sukkah early? Or we say, oh no, the kedusha Yom Tov maybe is early, so I can't do malacha. Issa malacha could be there, but the mitzvahs hayoyim I can't do till it's later. This is a shaila in the Paiskim. But on matzah, everybody's maskim. Matzah, everybody's maskim that has to be done after it's Laila because it's Hukish to Korban Pesach. And once the matzah has to be done by Laila at night, so then the Haggadah has to be at night. Was Mansha Matzah Mora Menachem Lefanecha. So once the matzah Mora and the Haggadah has to be at night, the Arba Koises are Chelik of the Haggadah. That's one reason. The other reason is because Kiddush Bakum Suda, and since the Suda has to be at night, so the Kiddush has to be at night. So it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch that even though one should rush home, that the kids shouldn't be sleeping, but on the other hand, you still can't start until it's Vadei Lailo, Tzeis HaKachavim, whatever the Zman of Tzeisis, Kol Echad L'Fishi Tasai, but whatever is considered night, whenever you'll drive your car Motzei Shabbos, that's when you can start your Seder on Leil Pesach. So the Shaila comes, which is quite late. I think they changed the clock. I don't know exactly all the times in front of me, but it's...
doesn't Matzah have its own chiyuv? It's Be'erev Teichel Matzah. It says Be'erev Teichel Matzah.
It's Be'erev Teichel Matzah, but...
So it shouldn't need a hekesh.
Yeah, but that, you could say that all the mitzvahs that if you started earlier could be as considered... the Yom Tov already. So that's the problem. If someone has a problem, you know what to do. So maybe there are kulas, maybe there are other shitas that the yayin doesn't have to be at night, so we'll get the matzah at night. You know, in difficult situations, you can find difficult atayim. But akaponim, for those that don't have a difficult shiloh, that should start it should start after the kiddush. Should start by tzeis. That's when we start the Suda. So for Kiddush, the question is always, you're coming to have the wine, and some people can't take today, especially in those days they drank wine. The French have no problem drinking wine, but Canadians or I don't know, it's a little harder. So the question is, how much wine? Can I have grape juice? Can I mix it? So grape juice is a shaila. Reb Shlomo Zalman held grape juice is good. It's considered wine. Reb Moshe held that you can't use grape juice for the dalet kaisis. You have to use wine because there's two dinim. There's two dinim in the dalet kaisis. There's one din of the kiddush ala kais and the haggadah ala kais, and that you could be yotze with grape juice all year. All year for kiddush you can be yotze with grape juice. Grape juice has a din of yayin begitoi, but Reb Moshe held there's a din of chayrus. There's a din of chayrus, and for that Indian of chayrus is freedom. The Gemara says, "The yayin yotzi, the chayrus lo yotzi." What makes that difference if you shasim v'asar? There are different cases there. So the Rabbi says that even though if you drink grape juice, it could be yotzi technically kiddush and everything else, but the din chayrus you're not yotzi, so you have to have wine. So that is the question, how much wine. So some say as long as you mix in a little bit of wine. So from Heinemann that he says it should be 4%. You mix in 4% alcohol, should have an alcohol level of 4%. Sachakol. So if it's 12% wine, no.
Chayrus is probably separate, talking about something that's Simchas Yom Tov.
That's the Rashbam, yeah. That's Chayrus is Simchas Yom Tov, but the Rambam has a different shot in Chayrus, that it's part of the Dalet Kaisis of Chayrus. That's a good point. The Rashbam says it. But either way, it's brought down that the Dalet Kaisis should have Chayrus in it, so Moshe held you have to have wine. As Rav Heinemann says, I've heard from others that as long as you mix it a drop of wine, it's good.
What's the rationale behind Rav Shlomo Arbach's?
He holds grape juice as yayin. That's halachic status of yayin. I'm finished.
And there is an aspect of chayrus in grape juice.
Chayrus is just why you have to drink the wine, but this is wine. If you have a halachic wine, even if it might not make you drunk, it's also wine. That's what he held.
You mentioned you can put in just a drop of wine if
you can put a little bit of wine. The best thing is to take. If you want to bring the sheet, the best thing is to take take wine. Now, for someone to take wine and you can mix it 50-50 with water. You can take 50% wine and you can mix it with 50% water. And the rationale behind that is that Chazal say kol yayin that's not mozig on chad tlas maya. 3 parts water and 1 part wine. In those days, the wines are very, very strong, and if you drank wine, it could be weren't yotze. Straight wine was who drank straight wine? They always mixed it with water. So if it has 3 parts water and 1 part wine, so that was how they drank wine. That was a natural mizuk. So today you could drink wine straight. So our wine is already considered already diluted. Even though it's not technically diluted, but it's considered like it's diluted. Now, the Gemara says like this, that if you mix wine with water, how much is it still considered a bay priagafen, and how much is still considered a shahakol? You make a mixture. So the Gemara is mavur, but Basya, the Gemara is mavur that yain is bottled b'shisha. If you have 6 parts water and 1 part wine, that's no good. That's already not considered wine. But if you have less than that, it's considered wine. So in other words, the ultimate wine in those days of the Gemara was 1 part wine and 3 parts water. If you had a little more water, it was still considered wine. Up till 6. If you had 6 parts water, it's gone. It's not wine. So if you use that logic, so if our wine is considered mazik, so our wine is already considered 3 parts water, 1 part wine, so you could go up to 50-50. Up to 50-50, it's still considered wine.
But it
Less
can't be
than that,
mazik with grape juice.
you can mix it with grape juice for sure.
Oh, different.
Because grape juice is wine. That's chatchila. But someone that doesn't want to have the sweet grape juice and
So what happens to the 4%? If you have a 6% wine, you do 50-50, you're down to 3%.
yeah, I don't know if it
You're
works
below
with
your 4.
Heidemann. I don't know if it works with Heidemann, but most wines more than 6%.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I just saw this from Heidemann, but I don't know. I don't know if it's accepted. The portion is if it's wine, it's wine. So if it's 50%, it's considered wine. So you can mix. Someone that can't drink a lot of wine, you know, Rabbi Hale told me he had someone call him up, diabetic, he can't drink, and the Tab was always told him to drink, tea or other Chamar Medina. So Rabbi said, how much wine can you drink? He says, you drink a little bit, so fine. So you mix it with water, 50%, and you have a small kais. We'll see how small the kais could be, and you only have to drink rev the kais. It'll come out at the end. You're only drinking, maybe a very small amount of alcohol. So no problem, they could do that. That's the chatchila.
Gemara says in Ben Korino, in Shosek B'Torah. Is the pshat the is coming from the wine?
I know, you can't change the. It's like Shalshud is the Divrei
If a person has trouble drinking the wine, is it better to dilute it more or to drink it more slowly?
No, you have to drink. We'll get to this. What is the share? Well, we'll get to the share. We'll get to it. What is the share of wine that you have to have? So, easy way to remember, there are 2 basic shiurim. The share of in most hilchos shiurim, there's 2 schools of thought. There's the Grach Noah and there's the Chazon Ish. Now we'll go to Grach Noah. His share is that 86 cc. 86 cc, share kais. Kais is the gematria of 86. So that's the share, 86 cc. It comes out about 3 ounces. Well, under some cheshbon. Well, it comes out about 3 ounces. 3 ounces would be the share of the kula de kasher of Chaim Noah to use for the dalit kaises, 3 ounce cup. The Chazon Ish, the kais hagen. The gematria of kais hagen is 150 cc. That comes out drop over 5 ounces. I think most kaises today are just about 5 ounces. Some a little less, some a little more. So if you have a regular kais, you usually have the Chazon Ish share. But someone that needs it doesn't have to touch such a big share. But Moshe used to say that for the rices you need 4.4 ounces, but for the Rabbanans, Shabbos Kiddush maybe is the rice, but all the other kaises are the Rabbanan, you can have, there's 2 shiurim given by him, 2.9 or 3.3. So if you have a kais that's 3.3 ounces, you're okay to go for these things, dal kaises Rabbanan. And that's not so much, 3.3, and you take 50% wine and 50% water, you're down to a very small amount of alcohol, and you only have to drink roiv the kais. You have to drink roiv the kais.
Sorry, so how did we come to 3.3? I'm sorry.
That's a Moshe's share, 3.3.
Does the cup itself have to be that size, or can you use a larger cup and just fill that?
No, so that's a problem. You should use a smaller kais, because you're supposed to have a full kais. And if you have a big kais and you fill it up halfway, you should get a smaller kais. Some of these glass cups are smaller. You should get a smaller kais. And sometimes you can fill, if you can't, you can put something else in the cup. You can put I wouldn't put a rock in there, but you can put you can put something in the cup that, makes the oil level go up.
So, here we go.
And that'll make it top it off to the top. But so it's possible to get by. And if you can't, you can have grape juice, you can have, different things, but it's not so hard. Now, how long should you drink it? The share has to be kadei, Yeah, there's a shalos for b'shtiyas revius. The chatchila one should drink the cup quickly, in 2 gulps. He should drink the cup. The chatchila way to drink the cup is to drink it 1, 2, 3. It should be done because there's shtiyas revius. He should drink.
Drink rov in that?
Rov the kais. Some hold you only have to drink moli lugma, but rov the kais you should drink. That's where we go. You should drink rov the kais. It's not so much. Rov the kais in the 2 gulps. You get a small mitzvah to get these huge kaises. You get a smaller kais. You know, the Brisker Rav's kais, he held that shir revius was 170 gram, which is a little over 6 ounces, but most people aren't like that. So you get a smaller cup, and you drink rov the kais, and you should do it in 2 gulps. Someone that can't, could do it as long as it's under 4 minutes. Even though Yom Kippur, we try to do in 9 minutes. That's for the Chumrah of Yom Kippur. We go with the sheet of 9 minutes, but over 4 minutes is not really K'dei Achilas Pras, so it should be done between under 3 minutes of Chatchila, if not under 4 minutes to drink it.
Once you drink the roid, so you're not going to finish the whole thing. Is there any problem with just filling up whatever you
fill it up. The only
That's
question.
And somebody who's a choy could have the 9 minutes?
Someone is in a difficult situation, he can have the 9 minutes. But if he can't, try to do it before 4 minutes. Again, it's a small share, and it shouldn't be an issue most of the times. So that's the kais issue. So again, the kais shel kiddush could be as a deraisa. So kais shel kiddush, if you could have a little bigger, it's a little better. But if not, the rest of the kais is 3 ounces, 3.3 ounces yotza, and you put in, you could do a little water, a little this, and drink rov the kais, and you should do it within 4 minutes. The chatchila should be drunk right away. The share for the matzahs. The share for the matzahs are a little more complicated because the problem is every matzah is its own size. They do it by weight, but some boxes come with more matzahs, some come with less matzahs, and it's hard to get a share. Now they used to sell these from Avdon Feinstein's, these placemats. They used to have the shiurim on it. There's a called idea Agada. Those shiurim are huge. The Rebbe is a very huge shiurim because he didn't count the nefach, so he has very large shiurim. Most places today you could have a much smaller share, and it would come out that in general terms, without going through all the numbers, that it's like this. We'll go through it next week maybe more, but there's different shiuri kazayas, and we eat 2 kazaysim by the first, when we make a moitzi and matzah, we 2 kazaysim. 1 kazayis by the kairach, and we 2 kazaysim for the afikoyim. Now there's a machloikis if the kazaysim, if it's neskatnu ashiurim, so if they're double the size that they are today. So in other words, on the rices we're machmer to have a double-sized kazayis. For anything that's the chiv deraisa, because of the whole shayf is neskatnu ashiurim, the eggs were much larger in those days. So our eggs are half the size. It's like the Maragum's grapes were huge. So over time things got smaller. So the things were, so they're bigger. So by the kazaysim of deraisa we'll machmer on a larger share. But since we're eating 2 kazaysim, so technically 2 kazaysim are really drabanan because the second kazayis is only a chumrah. Why we have 5 kazaysim? We only need 1 kazayis in deraisa. So therefore, it's sort of muvla. If you have 2 kazaysim derabanan, you already have a kazayis deraisa.
It's one kazayis deraisa.
Yeah.
For the seder.
Yeah. So therefore, when you eat the first, you're making brachas of Ashayla, which is your matzah that you're being yotza with the mitzvah. Is it the first one? When you make the bracha, lechem, you make al-chilas matzah. Is that the one you're eating? Is that one you yotza your matzah, or is your matzah afikoyim? It's machlokes with Scheiner, which is your real matzah that you're being yotza. So that's a shayla. But akaponim, so we try to have a kazayis deraisa on each one of those. And but if you have from the machine matzahs, we'll get into the next week about the machine matzahs. But if you have machine matzahs, a half of machine matzah is enough to be 2 kazaysim.
How many machine matzahs are there in the box? Is that like an ounce? Does it come out to be?
A kazayis is about an ounce. A kazayis is about an ounce if you crush it up into matzah meal, and it's very hard to do it yourself because there's always space in between. So it comes out about an ounce.
A machine matzah is 1 kazayis?
A half a machine matzah you could be yotza your achilas matzah and your afikoyim with, And in a hand matzah, you can be yotzei a third. The stipler used to give out, used to measure it on his hand, and he gave out a piece that was the size of his hand, and to give it out to the people. And so about a third, shmur matzah. So you can be yotzei with that. A third, you don't have to eat this huge shiurim. You can be yotzei with that. What?
How do you break it?
Carefully.
So what?
How do you break it?
Yeah, but even a third is bigger than a hand.
Depends on the size, but yeah.
Right.
So that's for the don't bring it here, but that's for the moitzi matzah and the last one for the kairach is even less. Those that can't eat it, those that have a hard time eating, could soak it in water. You know, older people, they could soak it in water to make it softer to eat. They always didn't eat brachas. You could be matzah and neder. They could go be matzah and neder, and they could soak it and eat it. And they shouldn't soak it with juice or anything else, but they should soak it with water, and they can eat it. It'll make it edible. You can even eat matzah meal. You can be yotzei with matzah. You can be yotzei your achilas matzah. But that's the share. And again, it should be eaten. So Shulchan Aruch says that you should be eaten b'masachas. You should eat in one gulp. You know, there's always a chew it up, and try to eat in one gulp. I try every year. I can't get it in one gulp, but that's the Shulchan Aruch says l'chatchila. But again, with the Evan, it can be eaten up to 4 minutes. It should be eaten before 3 minutes, but up to 4 minutes. But that's for each kazayas. So
ordinarily, Kedei Achilas process is longer than that. Kedei Achilas process is usually longer than that. So.
Not longer than that. It's a mistake. I'm saying on Yom Kippur we go up to 9 minutes because for Chumrah of Yom Kippur you want to make sure it's spread out over Achilas process. We take the most lenient shita, which is 9 minutes, and it's a Chumrah for Yom Kippur, and we say that you should spread it out. But when we're coming to be yotzei the mitzvah, the ikar shir Achilas process is 4 minutes, and you should do it before. You should really do it before 2 minutes. But upon him, if you can't, before 4 minutes past that, you should really try not to do. And you should be able to get it. It shouldn't be so hard to get it down, even though it's not so much money. I mean, the bigger your share is, the more you machmer, the harder it is to eat it.
So if someone is having matzah meal, they're basically taking an ounce of matzah meal?
Yeah.
Like a shot glass of matzah meal?
Shot glass of matzah meal, but again, you have to really pack it down, so take a little more. And then you can mix it with water. And it should be eaten. There shouldn't be so much water, and you should eat it, drink it down.
The size is about 1/3 of a shmur matzah?
About a third of a shmur matzah. You could be yotzei your moitzi matzah, and you could be yotzei afikoymin with, and you could take a little less for the kairach.
If there's 8.
Not so much less, but a little less, because again, it's 2 and 1.
And that's if there's 8 pieces of rock.
Could be a 6, no?
Technically, it could be a 6, but we take a little more. We want to get the sheets.
Is there such a thing as Hiddur mitzvah by eating more than the
Be a quarter. It should be about a quarter.